Hello everyone, here
Hi.
is Edyta Bąk, the
Hi.
most magnificent and amazing self-concept coach I have ever met. The magic that this lady does is crazy. So we have some jingles, a bit from the dog and a little bit from Tibetan jingles, but I want to welcome you warmly in this conversation because today we want to speak about
How to talk to men.
how to speak with men. And this interview is inspired by you, Edyta, because you interviewed another gentleman. I was listening to this conversation and I was inspired. I thought, hey, we have so many inhibitions to talk with men, and I know that ladies feel we don't like their arrogance. Agree with me or not? And this is something that bothers us to be more impactful and speak with them normally, equally, from equal position. And I want to speak with Edyta about how to do that to feel better in conversation with men and to be more impactful. I know how to do that, but I think in this conversation, many nice things can appear. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, ladies. If you manage to stay to the end and take all the, let's not call it advices, but some practices and some recognitions that I have about conversation with men. It doesn't matter if it's business, relation, family, just. The thing is that if you want to be on equal position, and we are, but if you want to feel it totally, you need to be yourself, unnegotiable and unnegotiable value. Unnegotiable, I would say. Value. What does it mean? It means that we are equal. The thing that we have certain beliefs made us notice that arrogance that Camila said. Because everything is neutral. So if you take it as everything is neutral, we even should not be bothered by the arrogance. But if we are bothered by the arrogance, that means we notice something. If we notice something, we give them itself the value. And if we give it the value, if it is arrogance, we think, okay, so they stronger than me. They could have this impression. And it's not.
It's not true. And the point is that it's not true. When we speak with them, how do you think and how do you feel, Edyta? In the moment when we speak with them, we are in certain circumstances here and now, and state of emotions, state of mind at the moment of both people that are in the appointment. And of course it can be the state of mind that stays for years. It can be created just a moment ago. But this arrogance doesn't have to mean that this person wants to attack us.
No, it's just different point of view. It could be just a different point of view. And instead of, let's say, we are too reactive, I would say, that we don't take a time to think about it, that it's neutral. It's just his point of view. It might be not mine. I could not agree. But instead of being, from 1 second to another, totally, the emotion is going whap. You just need to say, okay, it's his point of view, not mine. So what then? And then you give yourself the right to say your point of view with no even entering any discussion. Just saying, I think opposite, or I think differently. Because using opposite, whatever you use opposite, whenever you use the words that have this, meaning of different quality, different value, different opinion, you could feel then later attacked because you said you think different. You think opposite. But if you say, I think differently, different is acceptable. So I don't see the point with, let's say, angry discussions. The point is, whenever someone, for example, like man, I talk to Paweł, it is in Polish, so some of you probably would not understand. Whenever he stated something that was not completely on the same level of my thinking, first of all, I gave him time to finish the sentence. I would never say something in between. Just finish, because maybe at the end it's just, on the way I understood something because it's my experience, it's my feeling, it's my emotion, maybe just whatever. But second of all, what I experience is it's his way. I can either put a joke, I can either say it's not my way, or I can just keep silent. You can be either right or happy. So, choose yourself. I chosen at that moment, I'd rather have this conversation happy than to be right. And that's it.
That's it. Yeah, the biggest, for me, the biggest accomplishment of nonviolent communication. Do you want to win, or do you want to have a relationship? Do you want to be right, or you want to have a relationship? But from my theory of negotiation, the point is, even if you feel someone misbehaving, because I think and I feel deeply that people never think they misbehave. It's our consideration of their behavior.
Unless they do it on purpose, because sometimes they do, just to provoke.
Yes. Sometimes they provoke, and it's the manipulation. Sometimes they manipulate unconsciously.
Because they used to.
But in any case, the point is, what do you think? What do you feel, and what is your goal? And why did you come here? If it's just a conversation like you had with Paweł, it's just a conversation, and you can feel offended or not, doesn't matter. But if you go to gain something, accomplish something, deal something, the situation changes. So, are you there to feel offended? Are you there to attack or be attacked? Or are you there to get something? This is what matters. And even if someone misbehaves and call you an idiot, of course you can say, I don't want to speak with you this way. Let's try again when you get calmer. It's also possible, why not? But perhaps it doesn't bother you. I'm strong enough. I have 4 sons. Sometimes they really misbehave and they don't even notice that. If I would react this way to every misbehavior, I would probably not see them often. But I don't want it. And I can go over it and get what I want. Or say I'm offended. I give it up and end with nothing.
I think the way to kind of be on, as we say, be on the winner side. I mean, not to feeling that. I mean, as we talk about being offended or not being offended, it's actually how much you let yourself to be offended. Because, of course, if someone uses, as you said, you can stand, for example, the word idiot. I would rather say let's skip this kind of wording, please, because I'm not offending you, so let's skip and let's go on with the conversation, because we are adults. It's different with our kids, but we are adults and we should more and give the person space to come to the senses. Because if, for example, you talk to the man and he would tell you something like you go to the kitchen and you are, go and stay as a housewife because you're stupid, and you try to skip the conversation of this level, and you try him even not to apologize, because it's not a point, just to treat you as a partner. If it doesn't work, you can even stand up and go away and say,
simply.
Okay, simply, it's just simple, because then you show, okay, this is my negotiable value, and I would not let you cross this border. And the second thing is, you can just keep quiet. Just take your breath. Let him come to the senses, to his senses. Because when you do the point, something like, okay, it's not the way I want to lead this conversation, could we change this way? Then let the time being. Because then we very often, as women, we start to talking because we feel insecure, so we want to explain what we mean by, and what the men say, women are like,
we're over talking.
We are over talking
This
because
feeling of being offended or feeling uncomfortable.
whatever,
True.
we want to be well understood. That's why we over talking. But if you learn how to keep silent, then you take control. And of course, another thing, how to talk with men by questions. If you want to really lead the conversation, ask questions. Not be right, not put the statement. Even if you want to state something, to make a statement, put it in as a question. Do you think it's the best way, right? And it's not, you don't say it's the best way to do, but do you think it wouldn't be the best way to do? And then you change the way, because you start leading the conversation. You start like controlling the whole point, the whole situation.
Yeah. And we go straight to the
point.
And to why I invited Edyta to this conversation. Let me mention one more thing before I go to the point. One of the most spectacular and one of the most powerful manipulations in any negotiation, in any conversation, is touching your ego. And often it happens that you say that I am resistant to the word idiot. I never remember anyone saying something like that in official conversation with me during negotiation. But I remember, and it happened several times, when someone told me, "Madam, but you're unprepared." Can you imagine a procurement buyer that is unprepared? Fuck. Me? Me unprepared? How could you? How dare you? Blah, 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 blah. And all this theater in my mind. But the point is that it's just a manipulation. Those guys, I was using those techniques as well. People that know how to negotiate know very, very well how to touch you. The good negotiator, sometimes unconsciously, is finding your weak point very, very quickly in the conversation. Immediately. And puts his finger in there. And if you think, like I used to think, that I must be prepared for everything because my mother's favorite way of pushing me to learn was, you don't know, you don't know that. You don't know that. So I had to learn to know. You don't know who the Beatles are. Come on. I was not aware because I've never found them previous to that moment in any source, and she never told me, so I was not aware, but she was laughing at that. So it cost me being the one that must know everything, otherwise others will laugh. And when someone told me you are unprepared, in the beginning it was like decapitating me, killing me completely. But after a while I realized that it's the very, very good method to touch me. And I hope it was recorded. And I realized quickly that I can react to that, or I can say, okay, you're using this kind of tools, I don't mind. If you want to tell me I'm unprepared, I accept it. Trust me, I am. And that's why I invited you, because it's very, very much about how do I feel about myself during the conversation. And since you are, Edyta, the self-concept coach, you are the one to tell us how can we build ourselves before the conversation and the best before the rest of our life to feel comfortable with ourselves in every conversation.
I know it doesn't happen like, just like that, yeah? Because first of all, there are some tricks, like it's called internal hygiene. Then whenever you go to the meeting, take your time before the meeting to skip from your mother role, to skip from your daughter role, to skip from your wife role, to be completely emotionally clean when you go to meet the client. Don't do any assumptions, how is he, but do the assumptions, all the assumptions, how great and powerful you are.
About yourself, of course.
And this is the only way, because if you start thinking about, okay, this guy is so is known for that and that. How many times in life we have the situation that we are like told by someone that, you see, today will come the guy. For example, you go to the party and they tell you the stories about people that will that would come, and then you make your assumption, you make your judgment, so you prepared for something. But then you meet these people and you think, why they said so? They are so nice, so open, so, you see, everybody is doing the assumption according to our values, what we believe in ourselves, deep in ourselves, of our ego, of our individuality. So then if you skip the assumptions and you go open, and I just thinking about this conversation with Camila today, I just thinking what I could give you, something like a safe rope, safe wheel, like on the boat. For example, you do everything. You calm as an angel. You are going there. You from one hand you're doing, I'm a superpower woman. I can do everything, and I'm powerful. I'm going to sell. I know my value. Yeah. I'm Schwarzenegger woman. And then Conan. And then, but from the other hand, you take this, calmness with you. But to keep it, just think about it. Take how you call it in a ribbon. Like you read the book, you put something to mark when you read the bookmark. So take the ribbon, for example, to your notebook, and make it special. Make it like your favorite color, the color of calmness, like green, for example, and make this ribbon. And whenever you think you are losing, just have a look or take this ribbon in. It's like your escape rope. You see, all these rituals that we know, what we have, all these little tricks that we do, for example, even to concentrate for a moment on a ribbon, it's just give you the come back from your feelings. And you have to just train it. I'm come back to my senses. And first of all, and the most powerful thing is, if you know yourself and you put away all the struggles of the day you had this day, the day before, and you're going as a defined person, at that moment, I'm the seller, I'm offerer, I have the best product of the market, I do believe.
Or I'm just a mom, or I'm just a wife, or I'm...
It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about business. Or if you just a mom, do you think the mom has to be right all the time? No. I'm a human. I experience. I can be wrong. And not try to be perfect, because it's also the thing. We want to be perfect. We want to answer every question. We want to have the solution for any situation. No. Just say, okay, let me think. Maybe I find something.
Let me think. Take your pause. This is the most powerful, amazing tool for any solution.
The same if you talk to your husband, even to your children. Whoever. Let me think if I can find any other solution. If I can find a solution.
Yeah. There is another side of the equation. Because we let me return to conversation with men. We feel that they are arrogant and we're afraid of them and we don't want to speak with them just because of that.
Or we think they're stupid. We already put this,
Yes.
this label on.
The question is that true? Are they really arrogant or they try to cover something?
Oh, that's my favorite question.
And in my humble opinion, after so many years of dealing with men, because imagine or not, as a negotiator, I was meeting men mainly. They usually cover uncertainty, not to call it the fear.
I mean, uncertainty. Yes. It's, you know this, attack is the best way of defense. That's it. It's the best way to defend your inner being, your uncertainty, your feeling less, you imagine a man that is like facing you, a woman, and he is thought from ages, not only from the mom, dad, or whatever, or grandma, that you are in fear. And suddenly he loses his position. How he can defend himself with all this, traditionally learned behavior?
Traditionally learned behavior. The culture carries the scheme where men are powerful and women are weak. We are not weak. And imagine the man that is convinced that women are weak and he's facing you, an impactful woman. It's like, oh my God, I speak with someone from Mars.
But there is also another trap. That's what we said at the very beginning. You need to understand that sometimes you can be right or happy. So if you have someone at home that you raise children with, for example, it is your partner, your husband, your dad, for example, who is, you have your dad that is a difficult person, for example, let's say you put this label on. So you can be either right or happy. And it doesn't mean that being happy is to skip your position, to skip your opinion, to skip your way of being, but to learn how to communicate it. Because very often I have this situation with my client that they say, I want to divorce. And I said, and then I asked the question, do you really? I want to leave him. I've got enough. I mean, he doesn't understand. Okay, do you really? Because you chose this person for a reason. And then if you really deep inside at that moment, you know that you can't take anymore, divorce is nothing bad. It's nothing bad. It's releasing. But there are some situations that we overreact just because we don't understand. Because we don't really understand our feeling and other person's feelings. And it's not to be like, always understandable because we are used to be like that. But just answer yourself inside the question, do I really want to be with this person? If you do, so try to wait to communicate. In the previous times, when we have so-called these three, let's say three-dimensional families. So we have grandmas, grandmas. So usually the grandma was teaching younger women how to deal with men. And it always was from the position, And yeah, I know, I'll tell you, they are stupid. They are the puppies. They are the dolls in your hand. But you have to know how to communicate with them and how to communicate them what you want, and then we'll do for you everything. But that was the knowledge that we don't get this time. No one tells us how to. It's like a manual. They gave the manual.
This is impressive. Thank you. You opened something for me because I deeply do not agree with that. They feel. Men feel. Men are sensitive as well. Really, they are.
They are.
And vulnerable. And, oh gosh, I don't want to speak with them this way. But this is true. I was taught about something like that from my grandma.
But they are vulnerable. They are hurt. They have the same problems in their home. I mean, from their childhood, they carry the same problems. They have to be strong. They are overloaded with.
They
this.
can't cry.
They can't cry. They are overloaded with responsibilities. They think they have to. They can't show they are weak, so they react. They are angry. Imagine yourself. You tired. You overwhelmed. You cannot find a solution. You react as a she-lion.
Yeah. And they do the same.
They
When
simply
they're
do the same.
overwhelmed, when they're stressed, they react exactly the same way, and they try to cover it with the arrogance because they simply have to manage because they are men.
No, it's also another thing. Take into account that as in the families, mom or dad even talk to girls. Very rarely they have the deep conversation with guys, with boys. They are not taught to talk. Communication is the key to everything, because you can communicate. You can even divorce peacefully if you can communicate. Because you come to the statement, okay, we don't match.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it the less pain possible. But if you don't communicate, and they are not taught to communicate, they are not. Mothers don't talk to boys because they think they don't know how to talk to boys, and fathers, who was not taught to talk to anyone, doesn't talk to his son. And that's it. They're going to play football, they're going to watch the football, they're going to do different things.
And mind that communicativeness, if there is a word, ability to communicate well is our superpower, female superpower. And I'm not saying be a mom again and do this job for him. No, not at all. But use your superpower to get what you want while really good and high quality communication. Use your empathy, use your emotion and intuition to communicate with this guy and his vulnerability, even on business purpose. It works there as well.
I think we also make this, and I want you to take into, just to have kind of reflection on it, that we very often, if we want to get something, we start communicating from this low position of being a victim of his not, of his didn't, of his doesn't, of his would not and should not.
I'm not enough to get what I ask for.
And we think we really from this position because I'm not given, because I'm not loved, because you don't show me. And this position is not very comfortable also for them, because even if they acknowledge whatever you say, it's not done, given, shown, they are too ashamed to acknowledge, like we are, because we are humans, that we didn't notice we should give. And we take the guilt immediately on us instead of thinking, oh God, how good you told me, and I can now see it and change it in future. No, we immediately, first of all, it's shit, and then it's I'm guilty. And if I'm guilty, I'm ashamed. If I'm ashamed, the better thing is just to either hide or attack.
Okay.
So you see, this is the whole process. The thing is, if we are vulnerable, if we are open, if we know our value,
and we know we deserve to get what we ask for,
but we also know that we could be mistaken, so we give this right to other side.
That's it. Okay.
And we know how to take a minute or 2 minutes of silence instead of reacting. That's the main. This is very powerful tool. I would say even a weapon. Just keep silent instead of reacting immediately. There is nothing like reacting immediately. You never need it.
Okay, let's wrap it. I'm impressed because I don't know many people that speak about pause as a tool in any conversation. Very powerful one. So thank you, Edyta, for mentioning that. I'm happy. Before we go, one more thing from you. How to use our self-image to be more impactful.
Imagine if you are sure of yourself, if you accept yourself, if you know that you are the best of yourself. How you can imagine? I can't imagine that I would anyone take away this feeling from me. And if you are not like diminished by somebody's opinion, you will not react badly, because you won't let this low opinion, low reaction to affect you. This is the calmness. There is another, we have no time today, but there is another thing that we should work on. Silence is also the serenity inside, because if you are serene inside, if you are in peace with yourself, then you try to be in peace with the world, and you put your wisdom in just different way. You can get whatever you want, just different.
That's it. Contact with yourself and find
contact with yourself. And just remember, you are a negotiable value for this world.
This lady knows what she's talking about. All right. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.